And we're here with Luke Presley, and Luke Presley is diabetic. He has type 1 diabetes, and I wanted to get a perspective from a younger person on how is it to live with type 1 diabetes. Luke, welcome. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. So tell me, how old were you when you got diabetes?
I was 14 months old.
All right, so you have no recollection of how it was to live with diabetes at that time. That was more a challenge for your parents. But as you got older, let's say 12, 13, 14, you had to learn about the dynamics of diabetes as well as, your social perspectives of things and outlook. How was it for you then?
It was, I don't know. I mean, to begin with, that age, I just didn't like it, just to begin with. But
Okay, so when you say you didn't like it, what
just
is it that you didn't like?
middle school, intermediate school, you're changing classes. You start change classes, and when you add the diabetes into that, you have to make sure your teachers understand that you have it.
Okay.
That's one thing that we always try and take care of at the beginning of the year.
True.
And then you also have to just be able to manage going from class to class and keeping up with what you need to, blood sugar wise, and making sure you have food in every class if you need it.
Okay.
So it's not, being that age was easier than high school age for me.
Okay.
Because my parents were more involved at that point.
Yes.
Once you get to high school, it was kind of like, you're on your own.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So
when you get into high school now, because you're 18 now, what are some of the things, because you're taking on more responsibility for your care. It's not like your mom and your dad are coming to class with your snacks and saying, here, it's 3 o'clock, eat your snack. You're having to govern that. So how was it at that time? Was it a good transition for you?
it was better than, some things. It was hard at first because I didn't really want to accept that I had to do it.
Right.
That was kind of the revolt.
Sure.
But I definitely realized soon that if I didn't take care of it, then there were going to be more complications.
Okay, so now that you're getting into the high school years, and you're saying that it was a little bit more difficult because your parents are not in control. They're not bringing you your snacks at 3 o'clock. They're not governing all of those details. It's more on you now. So how was it for you at that point?
Well, I mean, it's kind of exciting because I realized that it was something I had to take care of, but it didn't necessarily have to be a struggle.
Yes.
It could be something very easy to take care of. But at the same time, it was frustrating because I, being 18, don't know everything I can about it. So it's, even though they are leaving and kind of backing away, I still rely on them when I have questions or when my blood sugars have been out of control for 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm kind of like, hey.
And so what are you feeling when your blood sugars are out of control? How do you feel? What are some of your symptoms?
My blood sugars are low. A lot of times I'm dizzy.
Okay.
I'm disoriented. Just.
And when they're high, what are some of your symptoms?
When I'm high, a lot of times.
High from high blood sugar.
Right. Yes. It's almost like the flu. Almost, you feel kind of achy.
Okay.
Very thirsty.
All right.
I mean, when your blood sugar's low, you're almost kind of like, I could stay like this.
Okay.
Because it doesn't necessarily feel bad. But when you're high, you definitely can tell something's not right.
And so what do you do, and how do you know the difference? Do you have to test, or do you test, or?
Well, whenever I'm not real sure, I mean, sometimes it's just really obvious. Sometimes you're just like, yeah, I know I'm low.
Yes.
When you're stumbling around, you know something's wrong. But then there are some times where you aren't quite sure, so I check my blood sugar.
And is that, you check
this is my meter.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well,
Because it looks just like a wallet.
Yeah. This one it's one of the newer ones.
Okay.
They always try and make them smaller,
Yes.
which tends to be bad because you'll lose them.
Oh.
But
I'm sure your parents like that.
yes.
Go on.
And so they have the strips, which you just put them in, and
You gonna test your sugars
yeah,
now?
I'll go ahead and do it.
Okay, you gonna do it?
I'll do it.
Okay.
So you put the strip in.
Do you need me to hold anything?
I'm trying to see. Just leave it like that, and then you put it in, and it'll tell you that it's ready to take a blood sample.
Okay.
And then you just pick a finger, and you check it.
Oh wow.
And then it does its math.
Okay.
And then,
It says
It-
174.
174,
so
which-
that's normal.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay.
So, it's a
So
good
if
thing.
it were 60, which would be low, or 300, has it ever been? What's the highest? Do you want your parents to know?
Well, luckily these meters,
Yes.
once they get up to 600, they just say HI,
Right.
so you don't really know.
Oh, yours have gotten that
after
high?
that, well, it's 500 or 600. I'm not exactly sure,
Yeah.
but it says HI, and
Okay.
after it goes to a certain point, low, it just says LO.
So when
So-
when it's gotten that high, obviously it's gotten that high for you to know that. What did you do? What do you do?
Well, I'm on a pump. I'm on
Okay.
an insulin pump. But if my blood sugars are ever up that high,
Mm-hmm.
I will take a shot to get ahead of
Okay.
the blood sugars,
And to bring them
and
down.
bring them down, and then just drink lots of fluids
Okay.
to make sure I don't end up with ketones.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Now you wear an insulin pump.
Mhm.
You gonna show us that?
yeah, if I can find it.
Okay.
This is it's an Animus insulin pump, and
Okay.
it's just one of the companies.
All right.
And it is waterproof. I don't wear it in the water. It's just my personal preference.
I mean, but if a person wanted to go swimming, they could go swimming with this
now,
device.
I mean, they say there's certain depths
Right.
that it can go to, but I mean, if you want to go swimming in a pool,
Okay.
it's gonna be okay.
Or you could bathe with it on.
You
And
can
you
bathe
sleep
and
with
shower.
it. Okay.
I put it under my pillow.
Oh, wonderful.
So-
Okay. Yes.
And
And you can program this to how much insulin will be infused throughout the day.
Yep, it acts pretty much just like a person without diabetes, how their pancreas acts, and it gives a continuous amount of insulin over time, which you call your basal rate, and then whenever you eat, you give what's called a bolus,
Okay.
and your pancreas does the same thing. When you eat, it sends out more insulin.
True.
So,
To bring your sugars down. That's wonderful. Okay, so you really like having that.
oh
That-
yes.
That makes it very convenient.
Oh, yeah.
Now tell me this, Luke, because you're a teenager and socially there are a lot of things you want to do, and the last thing you want to be thinking about when you're getting ready to go out, hang out with the guys or the girls, whatever the case may be, is all of these regimens that you need to be thinking about, or diet. So everyone's going out to have pizza and soda. Do you fit right in, or do you have a different program
Well,
or diet?
With the pump, it allows you more flexibility like
Okay.
that. If I was on shots, I would have to be more strict
Okay.
about being sure I eat this amount. But with the pump, it gives you the freedom to, if I want to go eat pizza, I can go eat pizza
Yes.
as long as I cover what I eat.
Okay.
If I forget, I'm gonna know it later because my blood sugars will be high.
Okay.
So with the pump, there's more responsibility on you to remember, hey, I ate this much, I need to give insulin for it. With shots, though, you've already given that insulin, so you have to eat that much or you're going to go low.
Yes.
So there's more responsibility on you, but it gives you more freedom in the long run.
Okay. So basically, you eat whatever you want to eat, as long as you make sure that you program it with your insulin pump. And so, but do you try to eat a more balanced diet? I mean, do those thoughts even cross your cerebellum, your cerebrum? Huh?
Every once in a while, maybe.
Every once in a while. So, what's a typical breakfast for you, or do you eat breakfast?
Normally, I drink a cup of coffee and a toaster strudel. That's
Okay.
my normal breakfast.
Okay, it's a normal breakfast. And then
Yeah.
lunchtime, what's a typical lunch?
School food.
School food.
Um,
So what's school food? That's pizza, that's tacos, that's hamburgers,
Yeah.
french fries.
and a lot of they've changed their program this year and last year, so it's more. It actually makes it easier for people with diabetes, just because they've reduced a lot of the carbs and a lot of the sugar,
Yes,
so it isn't as difficult to manage.
yes.
It's not as good, but
Well, yeah, Alabama got a B plus on their school rate report card, so we're not doing too badly now. We still can improve, but we are trying to cut back, as you said, on sugar, fat, and sodium. Well, the only thing I want to ask you, I know that your father, who's going to help us with this piece, and we'll be talking with him, your father, Philip Presley, is a pharmacist, and he also is a diabetes counselor, and sometimes you guys team up. How is that?
stressful.
Why is it stressful?
Well, I mean, he's my dad, and I don't want to upset him
Okay.
by showing him, hey, my blood sugar's been bad,
Yes.
But at the same time, it is really cool from my point of view to be able to come home and say, hey, Dad, I've had this, this problem with my pump, or, my blood sugar's been high, and him be able to sit down and help me.
Okay.
So it's stressful, but it would have been very different and harder on me if
If he
he
didn't have
wasn't.
that knowledge.
So.
So look, I guess that's good that your dad is a certified diabetes counselor. You can get a lot of good information from him. That's a good reference for you, and he keeps you, I'm sure, on your toes.
Yeah.
But but what I'm hearing all in all is your life is a typical teenager life. There is nothing really different. Yes, you do have a condition, type 1 diabetes, but it looks like you're taking control of it with your monitoring and maybe not so much your diet, but you know what to do. You're living a typical life. What are some of your activities?
Well, I mean, I'm a drummer in the high school band.
Wonderful.
We practice, we march, a lot. So
Yes.
I have to definitely keep up with it there. I go to school every day. I mean,
You
just
would like to.
I like, it's just I am normal.
Yes.
That's one thing I try and explain to my friends, like, especially new friends that I make, that, I might have diabetes, and I make sure they understand that, but they don't have to treat me any differently.
Okay.
But I do know, even though my life is normal, there is still a part that I have to be sure and take care of. I could want it to be completely normal all my life, but if I ever forget that I have it, then it's going to be bad. So.
Well, that's good. Look, I appreciate you allowing me to come into your home and chit chat with you. I got some good perspectives. And living with diabetes, like we said, there are measurements that you need to keep in control. It's a diet, it's a balancing act. It's also physical activity, and it's definitely doing your monitoring and things that you have mentioned. Thank you so much, Luke.
Thank you.